Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're on season number 7, episode 16 tonight on the sports edition. How are you, Andy?
Good. Lots of stuff to go over from this weekend.
Yeah, it's February 23rd, 2026. March Madness is in full effect. We know it's February, but state high school tournaments going on. The Olympics wrapped up. Major League Baseball is in full swing for spring training camp, and lots going on. So let's start off the episode with a trivia question. Question. It's one of those on this day events. What took place in Division I basketball on this day in 1985? 1985. On this day. We'll get the answer at the end of the episode, but start your Googling now and try to find the answer. That we'll talk about it at the end of the show.
Yeah, all right. We're going to start off with a little Facebook stuff, get you caught up on things and kind of go all over the place here. As you know, we've been doing a lot of research lately. Lots of stuff to cover. Been doing a lot of late night research. All right. Let me try not to take sides here on this. Try to get as honest as I can. Some people are ESPN doesn't have Sunday Night Baseball anymore. They've replaced it with the WNBA and the NWSL, which is the National Women's Soccer League. They'll be ESPN's Women's Sports Sunday, they're going to call it. Now, before you get all upset saying ESPN dropped baseball for this, ESPN, if you recall, already lost the contract for Sunday Night Baseball to NBC. This is what's replacing that time slot. Now, the ESPN not plan on signing baseball and was working on this anyway? Who cares? This is replacing that show in that time slot. Sunday Night Baseball and ESPN got canceled, if you will. Okay? This is just taking that time slot. It's not replacing it. So quit saying it's replacing it. It's taking its time slot. It's like a TV show. When they quit running a certain TV show, the one that goes in the 8 o'clock Wednesday night slot did not replace it. It took that time slot. That's what's happening here. Yeah. Now, soccer and basketball don't run all year, so what they're going to do when those other two sports are done, who knows? We'll see. It'll be Women's Sports Sunday year-round, just for the summer. You'll have to stay tuned. Homework time. Here we go. They are still going to show the strike zone when you watch a baseball game. That is not the official strike zone. It's kind of like in football with the first down marker. It's not the official one. It's the network giving you an idea just to keep your interest. Me personally, I can give two rats' asses if they got the strike zone on there or not. So, but for those of you, just remember, when you see it on the TV and you see the little dot and they go, oh, that was a strike, he needs to challenge that. That's a guess if it's a strike. That's not the official box. So I think the networks might work within the year. I doubt they'll ever show the official one just so there's no arguments back and forth. Hey, on TV, it looked like a strike. Why wasn't it called? So you'll never see the official one on TV. NASCAR on NBC is being moved to NASCAR on USA. Kind of like we just covered, if it's a night race on Sundays or if Sunday races go late, if NBC is supposed to show baseball, they really can't do that now, can they? So that's going to be on USA. No rip on USA Network, but I think stuff like this really hurts NASCAR for ratings and for TV. Yeah, I think everybody probably has USA Network if they have cable. Not everybody knows where the hell it is on their cable channel. So I feel bad for NASCAR. This is going to hurt it. True NASCAR fans will find it. We already know where it is from watching it there. Just kind of wish NBC didn't pay the money for NASCAR and then shove it off on a secondary network like that. Because we're here to educate. This is where we would give you educational things to teach you. Like this. They're talking about getting rid of the draft in baseball. Players were free agents to sign wherever they wanted. Coincidentally, New York Yankees won 20 World Series titles in 42 years, from 1923 to the first year of the draft in 1965. In the 61 years since then, they've only won 7 titles.
Yep.
So they won
Yeah.
20 titles in 42 years. Then they said, wait, we got a draft. They've won 7 in 61 years. So NBA wants to get rid of the draft, let players sign. You're going to see a couple big markets just run with it, which is what I think the NBA wants anyway. NBA doesn't give a rat's ass about Minnesota, about Memphis, about New Orleans for markets. They care about New York and LA and Chicago. That's all they care about. All right. 80s baseball stat of the week. More RBIs in games in 1980. In his 1980 MVP season, George Brett recorded 118 RBIs in just 117 games, becoming the first player in 30 years to average more than 1 RBI per game. Now, it was a 162-game schedule, and he still only played 117 and still got MVP. That's how special his year was that year.
Yep.
Oh. And here's another stat. Lee Smith, when he pitched for the Cubs, was famous for taking his time to reach the pitcher's mound when he was called into a game. He was the closer. He later joked that he did this because he learned that the Wrigley Field groundskeepers earned time and a half pay if the games went past 4:30 p.m.
Nice.
So that's he was just doing his thing. All right, we all saw the gold medal ceremony, us here in Minnesota. 3 guys, well, 4 if you count 2 in 1960. Brock Nelson adds to the 4th gold medal in his family's legacy. Dave Christensen and Roger Christensen both in 1960, or Bill and Roger in 1960. His grandfather and great uncle. His uncle Dave Christensen in 1980. Then, of course, Brock Nelson in 2026. Not only is it all family, they are all from War Road, Minnesota.
Wow.
So War Road's always had a gold member player also. And Ellen Hughes, pretty gal there, birthed 2 Olympic heroes and was a consultant for the women's team that won gold this year. If she's not like Sports Illustrated's Athlete of the Year this year, doesn't get some kind of award for Man of the Year or whatever you call it, Nobel Peace Prize, something.
She's Lady Liberty right there.
If the ESPYs don't give it a special award for her next, something's wrong.
She birthed
2 Olympic heroes.
Jeez. That is excellent.
Here we're going to go over the 1980 Olympics when the 80 team won it, how that happened.
Miracle, okay.
Again, we're here to educate. Now, we won the gold medal game was the anniversary of when we beat the Soviets, not when they got the gold medal. Now, back then in 80, it was a round-robin format. You didn't have tournament-style brackets like they had now, okay? Those of you just listening, you can look up the numbers. I kind of got how it's all spread out here on the video side. Your first stage, it was 2 points for a win, 1 for a tie, 0 for a loss. After each team played each other in their group, the group round was over. The teams had their points, and they went on. Top 2 teams moved on. So here's how the points looked in the medal round started. The Soviets had 2 points. Sweden and USA had 1. Finland had 0. That was the standings, if you will, going in the round robin. It wasn't really a true round robin. They had their 2 brackets. You played the other 2 teams from your other bracket. I think it was like red and white or whatever the colors were. So it was U.S. against the Soviets, Finland against Sweden, Sweden against the Soviets, and U.S. against Finland were the 4 games in the medal round. So in the medal round, it was 2 for a win, 1 for a tie, 0 for a loss. Remember, each team still earned 2 points for a win, 1 tie, 0 loss. Carrying over also. So, of course, we beat the Soviets 4-3. Finland and Sweden tied. Then the Soviets beat Sweden 9-2. I mean, they took it out on Sweden, poor bastards. Which means when we played Finland, going into that game, we had only 3 points. 1 point carried over, and the 2 points for beating the Soviets. So if we lost to Finland, we would not have had the gold medal. We would not have had the silver medal. We would have tied for the bronze. But if you look at it, we had the gold at 5. The Soviets still had the silver medal at 4 points because they beat Sweden, and they had 2 points carry over from the first round. Of course, Sweden got the bronze, the tie, and then 1 point carried over, and Finland just had the 1 point carried over, got nothing. So just because we beat the Soviets, we had to beat Finland. A loss, I think we could have tied Finland. We probably would have, I don't know, because the tiebreaker, how that would have worked. If the Soviets maybe would have got the gold, because they carried in more points beforehand. We've had the gold because of head-to-head. I don't know. But a loss to Finland did not, we would have been out of it. We had to beat them for the gold. Tie was not an option. Tying was not an option. So yes, that was our gold medal game. But we beat Finland. Finland did not medal. They did not get the silver medal. So everybody kind of forgets that part. Bison, men and women, boys and gals, both clinch the Summit League crowns and eye the March Madness bids now. So March Madness and the bids are announced in a few weeks. They've won. They've clinched the program title, so we'll see what happens there. Good luck to the Bison men and women. Injury report. Our girl Kate Martin suffered a serious ankle injury after a fall during player introductions at a game the other night. Now, this wasn't where they come out and do a little high five dances and jumps. It wasn't that. It was the going up the steps to the court from the locker room type situation. She fell, hurt her ankle. She's had ankle issues in the past. So we haven't heard any more on that. Let's just hope she didn't tweak anything bad. Hope it was just ow, better be off a couple days.
Ouch.
But yeah. Congratulations, Titan. Titan Fredericks there you go. Broke the Minnesota State record for 189 consecutive wins. There's a little graphic they made up for him. Of course, he's had more wins since then, but 189 broke. I think he's at 191 now or 192. So, congratulations, young man. And here's undefeated wrestlers, 25 or more wins right now in the state. And there's both Titan and Joel. Joel at 43-0, Titan at 45-0. There's Connor Peterson, 38-0 from Maple Grove. Lincoln Robidoux at 47-0. Trey at 46-0. So a lot of guys. John Murphy, 46-0. So a lot of guys might not be undefeated here in a couple weeks. And here is the team bracket for wrestling. Individuals, like we've said before, that'd be a whole separate show. But here's the team bracket. This is for A. So Minneota's the 2 seed. They got LeSueur Henderson. West Central area against Chatfield. Kenyon Wanamingo. That's number 1 seed, Staples Motley. Then Jackson County Central and United North Central. Jackson County Central to 5. Kind of watching them. Don't take your eye off them. Double A, you got Tino Grace and New Ulm, the 2 seed. Perham against Perez. South St. Paul against number 1 Simile. And Foley and Scott West. Scott West coming with the 4 seed. So they got their work cut out for them there. And the AAA, Apple Valley and Stillwater. Northfield, Shakopee, Brainerd and St. Michael Albertville, Elk River, and Hastings. Watch Brainerd. I'm not saying they're going to beat St. Michael Albertville, but I don't think it's going to be a walk for St. Michael Albertville either. That could be a tough one. Girls hockey, here's how the finals all went out for A. Let's go from semifinals to finals. Congratulations to Breck, 4-1 winner over War Road, the 2 seed over the 1 seed. And in Double A, Hill Murray, the 1 seed over number 2 Centennial Spring Lake Park, 4-3. So Congrats to Hill Murray. And here's Team Gymnastics A. Detroit Lakes is your champs. Mankato East and Breck. Bartow Mare coming in 5th. And for AA, Monticello, Owatonna, and the Hopkins. There you go. St. Michael Albertville comes in number 7. That, sir, is what I got.
Well, Andy, I've got some wrestling notes if you want to go back to that slide for AA state wrestling.
Yep.
So,
yep, let me get that back up there. Hold on.
They're going to move the format this year. Sorry. They're going to move the
format. Give me a second. I'll keep talking. I'll work on it.
I'll keep chatting.
Yep.
I'm going to go to the wrestling meet, I think Wednesday. So Wednesday is the day that the teams are going to take place. I'm going to be focusing on Class 2A for the team. And the reason it'll be interesting is that they're going to do the first 2 rounds. They're going to have 2. Each team's not going to wrestle 3 times like they've done in the past, where they set aside an entire day and go straight to finish, quarterfinals, semis, finals, all in one day. They're going to do the first 2 rounds for all the classes, and then the next day do the finals, the third place, the consolation match. So what we're going to see here for AA is an interesting things that took place on the top 10 breakdown. At the end of the year, the final rankings that came out, or the previous rankings, I don't think they're final yet, but many of the top 10 teams got beat in sectionals in Class 2A. There's only a handful of teams in the top 10 left in the state. The rest are done. They got beat out. They got upset in sectionals. So it's going to be an interesting, wide open meet here for the state Class 2A, which is in the middle. 3A is the big schools. 1A is the small schools. 2A is right in that market. And I went through and listed the top 10 or top 15 rankings where these schools were versus what seed they're in here. And it's going to be very interesting. Like I said, the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 ranked, second through 6th ranked teams in the state for wrestling all got beaten sectionals. The second, I'll repeat, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th ranked teams in the state all got beat in sectionals, and they will not be taking part in the state tournament. So
now
you're going to have
number 1 beat number 2 in their section.
Yes, a lot of the sections were consolidated up where they had to beat each other up to go, and so it's going to be wide open to some extent. So if you look at the state rankings all the way down, let's start at the top. Totino Grace, the last rankings on the Guillotine website have them ranked number 26 in the state for Class 2A.
There were a random draw. New Ulm was the number 2 seed.
Random draws, Totino Grace, but they're the 26th best team in the state.
Where was New Ulm? So the 2 seed.
Now, New Ulm is the 2 seed. They were the 7th ranked team. They were the 2nd highest team left, and they are the number 2 seed, New Ulm area. So you would think on paper that New Ulm should beat up on Totino Grace. I think that's a fair assessment. But once you get into the consolation round and the other secondary rounds, it could be all up for grabs. Perham is the 18th best team in the state of Minnesota for Class 2A. Perham, 18th. They're taking on Piers. Now, Piers is number 8 in the state, and they're seeded number 3. So they're the 3rd best team remaining after all these upsets took place. So you really have an 8 versus an 18, which should be closer match. But in wrestling, that's a wide margin. Perham, it's not like they have an outside chance of an upset. They do, but it's very small. That's 10 ranking spots down. So Pierce should win that. New Ulm area should win that. And then you get South St. Paul, not ranked at all. No ranking. So if they went down to 30 or 40, they'd probably be they'd be in the 30 range. 30th best team in the state of Minnesota going up against the number 1 team.
The true number 1, yeah.
Now you're going to see a butt kicking here. And South St. Paul knows it. It's, they're going to be wrestling for the consolation in the next round is their goal, because they cannot get past this Simley powerhouse team.
No, they're a machine.
Ranked number 1 and seeded number 1. Now the real match to see is this bottom one,
5 and
Foley,
4.
Foley ranked 11th, just not even in the top 10. Scott West ranked 13th, less than Foley.
But
But
yeah, the 4 seed in the tournament.
the seeding comes out, and Scott West is the 4th seed over Foley. So not sure what that is, but that's going to be your best match of the opening round. Two very evenly matched teams there. Simley should run away with the title is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But between Foley and Scott West, they're both in the same bucket, so they're not even going to get to the title match. The best they're going to be able to finish is third. So it's going to be interesting to watch this consolation round with all these lower ranking teams in there. It's actually going to be kind of fun, and then the semifinals and finals should also be fun. But
Now, what was
boy,
New Ulm ranked again? I'm sorry, New Ulm was
they're
what?
7th overall, 7th.
So number 1 against number 7 in the finals, maybe be close, but that's still a big 6 spots is a lot in this.
It is, and Simley's so good that they should win that. But the nice thing is that second round, the best match should be that potential 7 against an 8. New Ulm against Piers would be a 7 against an 8. That's going to be very evenly matched, and that match is after the first round is done. So that's a semifinal match. So if you're going to those matches, all 4 of these start at 4 p.m. They're late afternoon, 4 p.m., and then the next round is 6, which is a consolation. So the teams that
says
lost,
8 o'clock here.
and then 8 o'clock is this semifinal. That's the one to watch if it's New Ulm against Piers, and then Simley over Simley against Foley or Scott West. But most of those top 10 teams got knocked out in sectionals, whether it was by upset or things happened. But a lot of these teams that are good all are in the same section. And once you fall out of that section, it's a wide open crapshoot. So Wednesday will be these matches 4, 6, and 8. 4, 6, and 8. I will plan on being there for that. And then the next day is going to be one match for 5th place, a different time for 3rd place, different time for championship. And then all the rest is going to be focused on individuals. But wanted to point that out as we have it's a very strange oddity this year. Usually a lot of these good teams make it to state. This year, the teams that made it to state are not well, they made it to state, so they did what they needed to do. They won their section. But this isn't going to be a best of the best in this class 2A. It's going to be fun stuff here going on Wednesday.
It's kind of like Crow River baseball. There's 4 or 5 good teams in there, but only 2 make state.
It's
3 make state out of 6.
Yes. So I think there'll be some good matches in there that'll be really good. But for the others, it will be fun to watch because I think they're going to draw well with the fans. Some of these teams that never make it to state, they're going to have a big fan base, perhaps. It could be interesting to watch. Individuals, like you said on the other item, there's a lot of folks that are undefeated on the individuals. There's a handful of players going for multiple titles. One that we mentioned was Titan, going for his 3rd or maybe his 4th title, Titan Fredericks. Interesting stuff there. But the other thing to watch on a lot of these weights for the individuals for back to class 2A is watch section 2, the participants, the people that won in section 2 for the individuals.
Oh yeah.
Chance to get 6 or 7 out of the 13 weights, possible champions coming out of this single section is where we are right here, section 2. So a lot of local names could be on the podium for sure on the medal stand, on the medal round, which is the top 6. But good stuff. There's 8 sections. There's 2 that make it from each section. There's 2 that make it from each. So there's 16. You're going in against 16 wrestlers at each weight for 13 weights. So that's all I've got for that. But it'll be interesting. I'm planning to go Wednesday evening.
Yes. Live tweeting, TV.
I think we'll cover probably that Foley Scott West match at 4 is what I'm going to highlight, and then that semifinal one at 6, and then the 8 o'clock. I mean the 8 o'clock semifinal, and then both of those consolations ones at 6 o'clock in between should be very interesting. Things could all shake up and be different. But I think if you were doing brackets for this state wrestling, it's going to be very. It could be a slam dunk. There's not going to be many upsets, I don't think. But We'll see.
For the 2A anyway, yeah.
For the 2A, yes. The normal things are going on, I think, with the 1A and the 3A, the normal top teams.
Same like Albertville's got it locked.
It's still going to be good to watch all this wrestling, but boy, what a shakeup in 2A. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the whole thing got broken up there, yeah. Yeah, we got that. We got
I'm interested
more
to watch
state tournament stuff coming up in the weeks to come, obviously. We'll cover it all here. We'll have your results like we did for the gymnastics and the girls hockey, and then your preview of the brackets next Monday for the other sports coming up. Trying to hit them all. That's that gymnastics individual. You have to go to the Minnesota State High School League site for that to see how those all went. Again, that'd be a whole nother show. We'd have to cover that. The wrestling, we're going to touch on the 2A individual a little bit next week or in the next few weeks. And the 2A team, the rest, all on the Minnesota State League site there.
Now, Andy, check this out. 2026 Minnesota State High School League has announced its 2026 Hall of Fame class. Now, first one on the top left there, Randy Brewer. I was surprised that he has never been in until now.
Yeah, when you see somebody, it's like, wow, how'd he get skipped over?
And the others here are, either players or coaches or support. Lou Nanny there at the bottom.
Yeah, how he hasn't been given an award.
And so these people are all, I'm assuming, in various other Hall of Fames in their school and whatnot. But as the Minnesota State High School League, this is the induction class for 2026. Congrats to those folks. Now, Andy, we have a trivia question.
Okay, yes. I was thinking about that. What was the question again?
In 1985, what took place in the old lures of D1 college men's basketball in this day in 1985?
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. This was like conference tournament time for March Madness, a big upset or something, like Duke losing or North Carolina losing or something like that to some little Sister Mary School of the Blind or something like that.
Well, here's the answer. You're going to know this, I think. On this day.
There he is.
Indiana. Bobby Knight's Indiana head coach. Bobby Knight threw the chair. That was 41 years ago today after a dispute with the referee. I think this was, if there would have been Twitter back then, this would have been trending number one for a couple of days. This was
the memes huge. Would have been unreal.
The memes would have been jackpot.
Now, I recall with this, for years afterwards, some of the students at Hoosier games around this time of year would have a Bobby Knight chair throwing contest.
Yes.
And
it became a life of its own it took on.
Yep. And, that was just Coach Knight, though. I mean, he threw a chair. No one had ever done that. No one ever has. Did anyone get hurt? I mean, Bobby Knight, you had John McEnroe in tennis. You always had the one coach or player who went over the top when they argued calls. Earl Weaver in baseball, with his hat backwards, getting right in the umpires' faces. Was part of it show? Yeah. I mean, Bobby Knight did not wake up that morning going, you know what? First bad call, I'm chucking a chair. No, it just happened. But it got the attention of the refs. Well, you hear a lot of times they argue a call. They know they're not going to change the call because you argued. But maybe the refs are going to watch a little closer. Did Bobby Knight get a little more, hey, let's watch his calls a little closer? Maybe. Did they want to fire him up some more? Maybe. But Bobby Knight did not wake up that morning and say, I'm going to throw a chair. First bad call. No, he didn't.
Yeah, a spontaneous thing.
I'd want my kid to play for Coach Knight.
Yeah, and he was a tough coach. I mean, there was not a lot of love there, but Indiana had successful teams. He was a very good coach. And this was just a knee-jerk reaction. He knew how to garner the spotlight and make it, and it worked. It definitely worked. This was in all the newspapers the next day. This was huge.
And here we are to educate some more. Before that, Bobby Knight was head coach at Army. And he had a young assistant coach with him on that staff, a young Mike Krzyzewski.
Okay. Did not know that.
That's why I'm here, Dan. Educate.
It's an educational broadcast. But anyway, that was 41 years ago today.
Me and the
Boy, I
Don
remember
are
that
getting
like yesterday.
Yeah, I remember watching on the news, and oh boy,
Wild
Bobby.
stuff. And I think it was on, there wasn't cable, all these games on TV. It was the game that was on television, is what I believe. It
If I
was.
recall, yeah, because that's how they got all the footage of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was, in front of the world to see. And maybe, he knew that, of course, nationally televised game. There's a
Yeah.
call that I don't like. I'm going to do something. He grabbed a chair and chucked it across the floor. No one got hurt, like Andy said. Nothing, no property was damaged, but boy, it got the attention of people.
And it was those old school chairs. You couldn't do that today because the folding chairs are all linked up together, or they're in groups of three. You couldn't do that today.
They're all cushion, the
Yeah.
players sit on the cushion chairs. This was just a plastic chair. Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, we'll see you next week. A lot of sports coming up. The Olympics are done, like we said. The medals have been counted.
And
Italy did a good job.
About 1:30 in the morning, I really missed the Olympics last night. I got up, I couldn't sleep. I thought, I'll watch some curling. They'll put me to sleep right away. And there was nothing on.
Now, Andy, World Baseball Classic coming up. We're going to be talking about that in the next few weeks.
Very excited.
And that'll be fun stuff. But right now, it's all about baseball and NFL draft coming up in April. UFL starts in March. And here we are the last week of February. So it's mainly Major League spring training here the rest of the week and
That's
March
right.
Madness sports. See you next week.
Bye.